What's up to Lion Talk Live? So we love you too, buddy.
What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
What's up, everybody? It's Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. First Ballot.
What's going on, Coach Dan at Lions Talk Live and the Duke Crew. This is Ball Hawk Ifeatu Melifonwu of the Detroit Lions. Everybody make sure you help support the YouTube channel Lions Talk Live by clicking that like and subscribe button. Let's get it and go Detroit.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live and Coach Dan by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
I love nothing more than watching Lions Talk Live every morning. Woo!
All right, well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I am your host once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for joining us here today. Hey, Lions Talk Live, it is a snow-filled Thursday if you live in Southwest Michigan. Yes, reports are we could get anywhere from 5 to 11 inches, depending on where you live. Other parts of the state, and I'm sure other states are being gravely affected by this too. But as you can tell from away from the weather report, free on Lions Talk Live today, hey, we got a little bit of a story that came out and kind of emerged a little bit yesterday. I did some work on it this morning, kind of get you guys all ready for it. We'll dive into that during the main topic of the day. But for those who don't know or didn't see the thumbnail, Jameis Williams, I guess you could say now former to Cleveland Brown quarterback, had some real interesting thoughts about what he thinks is going on with Myles Garrett, a trade scenario that nearly went down, he says, between the Browns and Detroit Lions last year. We had some conversations about it, but at the end of the day, hey, let's face it, this story between Myles Garrett and the Detroit Lions probably isn't going anywhere anytime soon until we get some sort of closure to it. Will he be a Lion? Won't he be a Lion? What's going to happen? I don't know, but we'll dive into that in depth during the main topic of the day. Real quick, though, before we get the show rocking and rolling and going and getting over to the 5 headlines now, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so, making that march for 13,200 subs, and we'll just say we're 80-some subs away from that. Also, if you have a half second of time, it is free of charge, doesn't cost a dime. Reach on down, hit that thumbs up button, that like button. We try to get every episode of the show between 200, 300, 400 or more thumbs up or likes. So if you can assist with that, that would be most welcomed. Last but never least, if you are maybe bored on the snowy day looking for something to read, go over to Amazon.com or wherever you prefer to get your good reading literature and go over, order yourself a copy of Kajora book. It is the first in a 9-part series. Second book's going to go out later this year. It involves Native American and Japanese cultures meeting about 1,000 years before Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492, met up, and it does play out some historical facts. It is historical fiction. So if you enjoy samurais, Japanese culture, Native American culture, mythology, all that kind of stuff, religion, go ahead and check it out. And if you like it, give a kind review. All right, with all that said, done, out of the way, let's get this over to the 5 headlines now. Oh, we got ourselves a little bit of headlines here as we enter into this segment of the show. And, hey, let's start this one off with a pretty nice one. Amon-Ra St. Brown makes it clear that he wants Lions and Eagles to open the NFL season. SI.com story by Liam McKeown. I think most of us get it. The Lions, if you're a Lions player, let alone a Lions fan, right? You watched that NFC title game and said, yeah, we should have been there. We could have beat these guys. And then, of course, we all look at what happened in the Super Bowl and say, man, oh, man, we could have demolished, in at least St. Brown's opinion, probably most of the people watching this show's opinion, we could have really got after the Kansas City Chiefs. We could have not only made our first ever Super Bowl, but, hey, we could have won it. And it's clear it's sinking in with Lions players, kind of that, that burn, that itch. We all get it. They wanted to be there. They knew they could have been there. We can point fingers at whatever directions, the injury bugs, the former assistant coaches that maybe could have paid more attention to different details. Whoever you want to point fingers at, what we can all say is clearly this, that Lions players now have a bigger chip on their shoulder, axe to grind. Not that St. Brown ever needs a bigger one, but he's definitely got one. He does speak about the team. He does talk about the coaching staff. He does also point out that this offseason may be like the longest one ever for him as a player, because he's going to be so fueled up to get back on the field and go through another long season, try to push the team into the promised land, which is the Super Bowl. I think he's spot on with it. I think the Lions want to start over in Philly and show to the world, sort of like the year that, was it 2 seasons ago when he opened up in Kansas City for the ring ceremony and beat them. He wants that kind of scenario. He wants to be able to show the world, hey, we're not out of here. We're not forgotten has-beens. We are going to be relevant this upcoming season, and we are going to be pushing towards the Super Bowl. It would be, I think, an ideal matchup for the NFL as well from a rating standpoint. You'd have 2 of your heavyweight teams fighting right off the bat. We'll see if that's what shakes out. All right, Lions predicted to sign $16 million, 2-time All-Pro receiver. SB Nation, story by Daira Sharma with this one. And for those who don't know, there does seem to be more and more speculation in regards to the Lions signing a potential another wide receiver. Will it happen? Man, I have no idea. But I do think the Lions are an intriguing opportunity. This is regarding Stephon Diggs, who's, man, this guy just can't stay with a team. I think we all concur that he's got a lot of talent. Would he be an ideal fit for the Detroit Lions? I'm going to leave that up to you guys to speculate. I tell you what, if you want Diggs to be a Lion, put Diggs Y or Diggs, N in the comments section if you want to be a Detroit Lion. He would definitely bolster the offense. I mean, let's be clear, the guy is talented, but the Bills moved on from him. Boy, Minnesota Vikings moved on from him. Houston Texans are moving on from him. Wherever he goes, he doesn't last very long, and to me, that'd be a worry sign as a GM or a player. Maybe he's also, the only thing I would say in his defense, maybe he's at the point in his career where he gets it. This might be his last hurrah here in the league. He's got to do something, with this next team he signs with, whoever that may be. Otherwise, he's probably done so. Personally, me, myself, and I'd still like the idea of getting DK Metcalf over probably at least any other receiver I can readily think of off the top of my head out there. I do like Diggs. I think he would be a matchup problem for Detroit, just like DK Metcalf or so many other listed wide receivers, because you do think about all the talent we have. You can't double team everybody. You can't cover everybody. There's just too many rules that favor the offense, let alone if you actually have some abilities, which he does. Would he cost a ton at this point? No, but I do say, at least in my opinion, it's probably not the route I would go. We'll see what the Brad Holmes in front office decide to do. All right, Lions vowed to come back stronger, end quote, after a rough end to 2024 season. ESPN with this one, story by Eric Woodyard. So we get it. Again, kind of like the same thing we talked about with St. Brown wanting to open up in Philly. It does appear, if you talk to a lot of the different players, and Terrion Arnold's one of the more featured ones in this particular segment, just talking about how when the season ended, anybody who's coached or played, when you lose in the playoffs, it's just such an abrupt end. There is no tomorrow. Tomorrow's been relieved from you. It's just that empty void, and you can see it's hitting a lot of the players. You could see after the Super Bowl game, more and more of them started speaking out about, man, how motivated they are to get back on the field, how motivated they are to try to make sure we push the team to the final step, and that would be a Super Bowl championship. It's just like nothing. Most of you, if you've never coached, if you've never played, it's hard to really describe to people. But it's very clear talking, or in the story, talking to a bunch of the Lions players, they are ready to grind. And the story does go on to talk to Penei Sewell, Sion Vaki, Terrion Arnold, amongst others, and especially some of the pain that a lot of them are feeling with seeing some of their coordinators leave. Because from the human aspect, not just the X and O's, not just the coaching aspect, you go to battle with these people all the time, especially if you've done it for a few years. They do become very much like a family, the team structure and everything. You remove that from people start getting into their feelings, and it's clear the Lions have some real feelings and emotions regarding next season. I actually think this might be the best Lions team we've seen yet in recent years. I think next year's team might be the one that we're all looking at. The record might not be 15-2, but I think it might be the most complete team and the most galvanized team. That's probably the best way to put it out of any of them out there. All right, next to the 5 headlines now. Notes ESPN leaves Lions out of NFL's top tier heading into offseason. Story by Jeremy Risman, and he's spot on with this. ESPN did put out a tier list. ESPN also did say that the Lions are not a top tier team anymore. They feel that those honors go to Philadelphia, Kansas City Chiefs. They now list the Lions in a spoiler alert here. So if you're going to read the story later on, maybe you don't want to watch this particular aspect of the 5 headlines now. But they have moved the Lions down to what they're putting out there is the quote on the cusp, sharing the spot with the Baltimore Ravens, Buffalo Bills. Jeremy Fowler is the person who's penning this story, and most of you guys know who he is. He covers the Lions all the time, has for a really long time. He thinks Lions are still contenders, still have one of the better rosters in the league, but he does say Lions is still one of the premier rosters in football and are one of the most complete teams despite their divisional loss to Washington, Fowler wrote. Quote, they are also set up for long-term success, locking up several key players with extensions in 2025. Cap space to spare. Pass rusher Aiden Hutchinson, safety Kirby Joseph could be the next in line for an extension. This allows Detroit to take calculated risks on premier talent without feeling burdened to address depth. They are deep just about everywhere. Detroit could use one more player on the defensive front, though, perhaps another pass rusher. And without going through the entire story, does point out that he feels like the Lions need a few more home run hitters, and I'm paraphrasing here, on the defensive side of the ball. He talks about the Lions offense. We all get it. You're going to get the same information everywhere, whether it's this channel, Jeremy Fowler, whatever. Lions are stacked on offense. He does point out the Lions need to address the offensive line a little bit more. Does have some questions about the new coordinators on offense and defense, but he does feel like the Lions don't have enough pass rush power to really supplant a Kansas City Chiefs or a Philadelphia Eagles. And he lists a couple other teams that he thinks are rising and ascending that could bump out the Detroit Lions from being one of the top 5 or 6 teams in the NFL. So if you want to go and check it out, go ahead. It's not a bad read at all. All right, disastrous former Detroit Lions head coach lands new gig at Ohio State. The Sporting News, Mike Moratis. Proof that if you grind, you can revitalize your career. We're all going to have our thoughts on our former Lions coach, Matt Patricia. In my opinion, is he a good head coach? At least not in his time in Detroit. He did not resonate well with players. There's a reason why big play Darius Slay is out of here amongst, Quandre Diggs and a couple other players. The Lions did have some talent, if you guys remember, when he was hired in. Not that it was egregious, not like it was this year's team or last year's team, but it had some talent, and he clearly alienated that talent. He might actually be a decent defensive coordinator. I have no idea. I really haven't paid attention to the guy since he left here, but he is still trying to be a football coach. Hopefully he's learned through some of these life opportunities that have been presented to him in the last, 5-7 years. But let's also be fair. He's got a long road back to being a relevant coach, I believe. This could be a big step for him because if he goes into Ohio State, does a great job, maybe somebody does give him another head coaching job, in college or the pros or whatever. But you can say one thing for Matt Patricia. He's still out there grinding, and kudos for him for that, because a lot of people who have gone through what he's gone through do quit. Kind of ties into a story I nearly put in the 5 headlines now, because we're going to be talking in the main topic about Myles Garrett. Max Crosby, he had a story out, I think it was yesterday, about Rob Marinelli. If you guys remember, the former Lions coach, has a real good relationship with him when he came over to the Raiders. Rob was, his defensive line coach, said how impactful he was on him. They still talk almost every day. They're still got that kind of friendship. It just goes to show you that once you get fired as a coach, you might not ever get, especially at the pro level, an opportunity to be a head coach again. But it doesn't mean a lot of these guys don't love coaching so much that they're still out there grinding, taking whatever job they can. Matt Patricia, he's probably never coming back to Detroit without being the villain, but it doesn't mean he can't resurrect, his own personal coaching career. All right, let's get done with talks of the evil coaches of our past. Over to the main topic of the day. And yeah, sometimes I get tongue-tied twisted. All right, main topic of the day. If you guys remember Jameis Williams, he coming out of college, he was kind of an enigmatic NFL quarterback or prospect. Could have put up big numbers, but just turned the ball over too much. Hey, he's turning over. See what I did there? Some information to the media in the last 24 hours, talking about conversations he's had with Myles Garrett about moving on from the Cleveland Browns. He did ask why, he did quote and say why he asked Myles Garrett why he wanted to move on. And Myles Garrett just basically, and I'm going to paraphrase, I'm not going to read through the entire article, but said, "You've never been 0-16. For one thing he did say, Winston quoted Myles Garrett on, "I saw a lack of execution on the offensive line. I saw myself throwing away some games, but I didn't see anything fundamentally wrong with the organization," Garrett said. However, responding to Jameis Williams, he said, "James, you've never been 0-16. It burns at you. It eats at you. I want to win something. I want to see the end of my career come down to me being remembered as being one of those guys, not one of those guys." I think he means somebody who hasn't won a championship. At least that's how I took it. Talks about a lot of great players that have been great in their careers, but just haven't gotten to the promised land. And we get it. As Lions fans, you've seen some greats like Barry, Calvin, etc. Basically, without going through the entire quote and story, Garrett, according to Jameis Williams, that's the burning thing on his mind. It's on his mind a lot. He does go on and talk about the year, last year, where Wilson says that he was aware, like all the Browns players, that there was a real possibility the Lions and Browns, amongst a couple other teams, he doesn't give the full details, but when talking about Myles Garrett coming to Detroit, he said he was aware of a trade opportunity or scenario that nearly went down, and it was his belief the holdup on it was going to be a quarterback from Detroit coming over to the Browns. He does say he was glad to see it not happen. He still wants to be the quarterback here for Cleveland, and he still saw it as an opportunity to resurrect his career and take the team to another level. He does not want to see Myles Garrett leave, but also goes on to say how he kind of understands why he may want to leave and go on. It's a great story, and I think you can find it on about 20 different websites. So if you want to read up on it today, go ahead and check it out. In Jameson Williams' opinion, he wants Garrett to stay because he believes the Browns aren't that far away from turning things around. But he does also point out that Myles Garrett does a deep dive talk with him, amongst other people, about his time with Cleveland, as his words, is done. He's given everything he can to the city. He's given everything he can to the team. He does seem to appear that he resonates with Dan Campbell, what everything is going down in Detroit. He does mention, or Jameson Williams talking for Myles Garrett says, in Garrett's opinion, Detroit is one of the best scenarios or situations out there because of what he can bring to the table, what the team needs, and what the team has around him. Talks about the fact that you have a prolific offense that goes out there. He knows he doesn't have to get a sack every play just to try to keep the score somewhat close. I mean, it's a real good deep dive into why Myles Garrett would want to come to Detroit. Lists a few other teams, kind of, but it's speculation on Jameson Williams' part. I would say this, if all this holds water and it's accurate, the fact that the trade didn't go down last year, if it really did come down to just Hendon Hooker not being a part of it, I guess that's the answer to the question. What's going on with Hendon Hooker? If the Lions really didn't pull the trigger because Hendon Hooker wasn't a part of that deal, or they didn't want to give up Hendon Hooker, then that just tells us all that they really believe that highly in Hendon Hooker. And maybe the only reason why they didn't put him out as the backup quarterback is just because for the playoff game is because he's just never played in a NFL regular season game. I mean, in meaningful minutes. Yeah, he's got some, throwaway snaps and kneel downs here and there. The other part of it is, I guess, if you want to Scooby-Doo this trade scenario, what would you give up? I don't know. I've been on record with you guys for a week or two now. I don't like the idea of giving up 2 first-round picks for him. I just don't. If you want to say, hey, we'll give you a first, a third, and a 5th rounder this year, maybe we'll kick in a 5th rounder next year, fine. Go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off, sacrifice this year's draft, get him, and move on. I don't like the idea of extending it to 2 different drafts. That's my opinion. Now, with all that being said, Jameson Williams is spot on. So is Myles Garrett. If you're going to look across the NFL right now, and you're Myles Garrett, and you're sitting here going, which team do I go to that I know I'm going to meet an immediate need for that team? And they're in a good position not only to win their division, be one of the top seeds in the conference, but then you get to the Super Bowl. Trying to be as neutral as I can be here, I think you'd have to objectively say it would either be, because they're probably going to trade him out of the AFC to the NFC. It would probably be either Washington or Detroit. In my personal opinion, I think Detroit is the better situation, just because assuming you don't have the rash of injuries that you had last year to one side of the ball, or even regardless one side of the ball, whatever, to a team. You put him out there with Aiden Hutchinson, Ali McNeil, DJ Reader, and whoever else you have on that defensive line, you're going to have to say that's, if it's not the best D line in the league, it's got to be in the top 5, maybe top 3. If you look at the secondary, you've got 2 of the best safeties on the same team in the entire NFL. We get it. Kirby Joseph, all pro. Brian Branch is a Pro Bowler. So the fact you have the center field taken care of as far as your safeties. Terrion Arnold, you can have your opinion on him. My opinion is simply he's a top 15 corner, and probably next year going to be pushing closer to number 12 to 10, or at least somewhere in that range. Who you're going to have opposite of him, if it's Amik Robinson, great. I actually liked Amik Robinson. I didn't see much of a difference between him and CD3. I would love to have CD3 back, though. Enos Rakestraw is a mystery, so I'm not going to even go into there. We'll have to wait and see in time. Linebacker core, I know some of you don't like Jack Campbell. I actually think he's pretty decent. I don't think he's, like, on a scale from 1 to 10, I don't think he's a 10. I don't think he's a 9. I think he's an 8. I think he is by far better than your average. We all get it that AA or Alex Anzalone, he's probably one of the better coverage linebackers in the NFL. Might have a few, things here and there, but he's sort of like Jack Campbell. He's an 8. So they're both sound there. The offense, 8, you can't ask for much more. And Myles Garrett is spot on. Think about being him the last, whatever it's been, 7-8 years. You had to feel like every time you stepped on the field, you had to make the play. Otherwise, your team just virtually had no chance to win a game. If you weren't trying to get a sack every time the other team dropped back to pass, you understood you just didn't have the offense. You didn't have the right defense typically around you to get many stops. Think about, from an emotional standpoint, how exhausting that's got to be as a player. And now think about how exhilarated he would be to play for a team like this where, hey, the offense is going to score 30, 40 points a game more often than not. Your defense, if you can just hold them to 20 points a game, you're probably winning most games by blowout fashions. Think about how much more pass rush you can now generate because the other team's got to pass a whole lot more just to keep up with you. You don't have to worry about the run as much, especially as the game progresses, if the offense holds up. Should the Lions do it? I want to hear what you guys have to say. Myles Garrett, why? Myles Garrett, no. And if you want, in the comment section, what would you give up for him? Me, myself, and I've said this before this week and last week. I'm kind of over the topic, but hey, Jameis Williams did give some good information with his takes and his commentary to different reporters. In my opinion, I'd still want to go for Trey Hendrickson and sign, what's his name, from Philly. I talked about him last week before the Super Bowl when I did my five people playing the Super Bowl to watch. Josh Sweat. That would be the route I would go. I think it's far more cost efficient. I think you get to keep all your draft capital and keep developing for the future. I mean, in my opinion, Trey Hendrickson is going to cost you a 4th or 5th, maybe a 3rd rounder, somewhere in that range. So you could stomach that probably a whole lot easier. My opinion, that's what I would do. But I also get if they go for Myles Garrett, hey, if you're going to swing for the fences, man, hit that home run, not just out of the park, but out of the state, because that's what you would be doing. The downside I have is that you're probably giving up 3 to 4 different draft picks and high draft picks for him. Me, myself, and I don't like that idea. But what do you guys say? Is it time to just go all in for this cat? Yes, I've already outlined how much of an impact I anticipate he would make on the team, and I do think this would be a generational defensive front if you go out and get him. All right, Duke Crew, I've rambled on way too long on this one. Let me scroll to the top of the screen, and then we'll get to you guys, see what you guys have to say. And also, hopefully you're all staying warm and aren't snowed in. Michael, greetings, salutations, coach and Duke Crew, ! One pride, thank you for that. Jameer, greetings, salutations, everyone. Good to see you, my friend. Hopefully you're staying warm. Rob, greetings, salutations, Coach Dan and Duke Crew. The Lions are the grooviest, Daddy-O. I concur with you. Jameer, bring him on over Brad. Yes, I think a lot of people would love just that. Stephanie, good morning, boys. Exclamation point. Stay off the roads or give yourself some extra time if you are in greater Southwest Michigan. I hope we get him. Myles Garrett. Yeah, I think a lot of Lions fans would love him. We'll see what happens. Rob, be groovy and smash the woo button for Dan, Coach Dan the man. Thank you for that, Rob. Thank you very much. Moonscar, good morning. Duke Crew starting lineup. Let's go. Exclamation point. Brad Holmes, the ball's in your court. You're not wrong. This is the way. Yeah, I think it's all comes down to what him, the front office, and I'm sure DC is going to have some thoughts on it. Here's what I would say. Do you think there is a right way and a wrong way to handle this situation? Draft, sign free agency, or drafts, trade for somebody else? Either way, any way, shape, or form you go out there, I think the Lions are going to be improved. It's just what I would do, what you would do, etc. Five Fingers Freddy, if we get Garrett, I think there would be some contract restructuring. Yeah, probably. Give and take by both sides. He would be a massive win for the team. I agree with all those. The non-Lavers, good morning. Dan and Duke Crew, exclamation points. Do we really believe Brad is going to go all in for Garrett? I'm not sure. I'm not optimistic. Me neither. But one can hope. Exclamation point. I trust in Brad Holmes to make the right decision. Go Lions, one pride. Woo! And back at you. Virgil, what do you got? So, how much of our future would he give up to get him? Too much, in my view. That's kind of where I'm at. It's my anticipation if the trade actually comes to fruition, some team is going to give up 2 first-rounders for him, or maybe a first, a second, a third in consecutive order in that draft, something like that. Rob, they can off him a plan at any Southeast Michigan Ford dealer. There you go. Give him the A plan. Paperback fan, greetings, salutations, Duke Group, power outage at work. Send me home. Have a great day. Hopefully you're enjoying the day off. So small. I don't know how I feel. Myles Garrett is one of a kind player, but if he got hurt, we give up 3 to 4 players picks for him. Shake my head. Yeah, that's the downside, especially something like what is it? Looking at the NBA, Luka Doncic, and they Dallas got what he got? I can't remember. Anthony Davis, and he got hurt like right away. Voltron, I'm down with getting him for 1 or 2 picks, not 3 or 4 players, 4 in a player. There you go. Moodscar, it's the season of wishful thinking and taking your opium pills. So dream a little dream for now. I say, why not? Every other fan base is, 100% on that. Everybody's talking about what might happen and could happen. Paperback fan, agreed, Voltron. Pat, Coach, you have the least amount of Lions colors in your thumbnails of any YouTube out there. It works. So, basically, I want mine to be, everybody's got their own way to do it. There's lots of great ways to do it. Mine is, I just want it to really pop out, hopefully make it easier to read, especially since it's a morning show. We're not all awake in the morning. Hopefully it just makes it easier on you guys. David, are Winston and Myles friends? That I don't know, but it does appear from the story they've been chatting quite a bit, so I'm guessing they're friends. Trey, what's up this morning, everybody? Question mark. Well, I guess the question is, how often do we not need to blitz? Correct. If we have Aiden Hutchinson, Myles Garrett on that line, you'll probably become very Philly-like, don't you? And that more often than not, you can drop 7 guys into coverage versus, just having only a couple of guys in coverage. Hey, Mark. Good morning, Coach Dan and the Duke Crew. Exclamation point. What a team. What a podcast. What a time to be a Lions fan. What a bunch of fluffy white stuff. Yes, you're right there. Woo! Go Lions, 100%, and thank you for that. Rob, Moonscar, trade rumors are the hopcat of those fan base. 100% with that. Let's see. Steve, good morning to Dan and all my Duke Crew brothers and sisters. Exclamation point. Unfortunately, Mr. Garrett does not control what the Cleveland Browns would want in draft capital. We're done good with the draft. Yeah, we've done very well with the draft, I would say. Clark, Trey Tipson, I'm thinking like 2 to 8% of the time only, not 40 to 60%. Those corners of ours might look a whole lot more impressive. Yeah, as far as blitz rate, I agree with you. It probably would not be very high. Hey, Mary, good morning. I hope you didn't get too much snow. Got 6+ up here in Clare. I want to say we're projected to get 7 to 11. I know I went out once it started snowing. I went out after like an hour or 2 to shovel, and we had already gotten like a 3 to 4 inches, something like that. But yeah, it was pretty deep. Moonscar, pills, yes, go with those pills. Then don't let them make you sick. Steve, I say we draft our own Myles Garrett. Could be that's what we do. Big Eddie, great salutations. Winston wants to stay at Brown, fight for the starting spot. Reading his take on things, I understand why he didn't want the Lions and Browns to trade this year. Didn't want Hooker coming there. Yeah, because if the Browns would have gave up Myles Garrett and gotten Hendon Hooker along with some draft capital, I get it. The Cleveland Browns would have been probably fully committed to having Hendon Hooker out on the field, developing him, etc. Tori, good morning, Duke Crew, back at you. Stephanie, Steve, I think that's what we will end up doing, maybe a lower level trade or free agent signing. Yeah, that's what I think is going to happen. Robert, greetings and salutations, back at you. Steve, Stephanie, 100% agreed. France, whatever we do, I'm fine with it. We will be improved via trade, signing, or draft. Yeah, all the above will come into play. Let's see, Jess, Big Eddie, right? Yes, Winston isn't dumb. He wanted to protect himself, his career. Yeah, a lot of players do. I mean, it's a business for them. It's a job. Susan, good morning, Duke Crew. Back at you. Jim, can we get Josh Sweat? Ooh, I do like that idea. And the best defensive lineman available without breaking the bank. That's where I would go with things. Sign someone like Sweat in free agency. And there's going to be a lot of good options out there. We'll see what shakes out. And yes, don't give up everything. King SJ, good snowy morning. Coach and Duke Crew, back at you. Rob, shout out to the Pistons for laying a beat down on the Bulls 2 nights in a row. A combined 58 points. Hey, good for them, man. They are becoming more relevant. Trey, Jim Barra, I'd be all for that. Yeah, me too, man. Me too. Dennis, good morning. Dan and Duke Crew, same to you. Miles Marker, great and salutations, folks. It's juggling season. How many potential trades are really in play for Lions? Unsure. I would say if you get 1, maybe 2, that would probably be the case. I just don't see Brad Holmes giving up a boatload of high draft picks. Maybe some lower level ones. Marcus, good morning. Dan and Duke Crew, exclamation point. Let's go Lions. I like the way you're thinking. Michigan Panther Pride, good morning, Coach Dan and Duke Crew. I'll have a coach on my show this coming Monday. Hey, we'll have to check it out. And congrats, man. Big D, yada, yada, yada. I'll go with that. Michigan Panther Pride, the thumbnail get nailed by like 7-inch. Okay. The thumb got nailed by 7 inches. Okay. Stay warm, my friend. Big D, what's up? Come on, Garrett. We'll see if that happens. Keith, good morning and greetings and salutations. Dan and Duke Crew, same to you. John, greetings and salutations. Dan and the world famous Duke Crew, Muncie, Indiana. Woo! And same to you. Stay warm, my friend. T-Bone Lokes, Winston, yes. Jameis Winston. Moonscar, Dan, stop using those 4-letter words. I don't want to hear that. That word, yes, 100%. Rob, driving to work this morning was an adventure. Hey, be careful, my friend. Be careful. El Riendo, Garrett is not coming to Detroit. We'll have to wait and see. I have no idea, man. Let's see. Roland made some Browns fan while I was in New Orleans for Super Bowl. Chatter on Browns groups. They might not try to get Winston's contract voided because the second ACL tear happened while he wasn't playing football. Ooh, yeah, that would be a big win for them if they could get his contract voided. It would save them a ton of money. Let's be fair. They have really set back the franchise with that trade and the contract. They're probably trying to do whatever they can to help, save themselves from themselves. Keith, bring on the Eagles to start the season. Woo! Yeah, I think that'd be a great matchup. John, I heard Garrett was willing to rework his contract. Still don't think Brad will go after him. Could be wrong. Yeah, I don't think he would, but we'll see. Riggs, no. Okay, Diggs, no. All right, there we go. And Moneybags, Courtney, Shamir, St. Brown said he always going to play for the Lions. Yeah, probably. I don't see them ever getting rid of him. DK Metcalf says Courtney, yes, okay. Diggs, yes, fudge it. All right, we'll go with that dash. King SJ, pass on Diggs. He's staying up by Toxic. Yeah, he's burned himself out of a lot of teams quickly, it seems. Muskar, I wanted Diggs when he left Mini. No on him now. Okay, we'll go with that. Marcus, no on Diggs. He is a cancer and is coming off an injury. Not a grit guy. I concur. So, Silver Surfer, good morning, Coach. Always listening. Good to see you, my friend. Keith, DK, yes. No on Diggs. All right. It seems to be the prevailing wisdom. The non-lavers, Hogs, Hex, no. Okay. No, Derek says no on Diggs. Yes on Metcalf. Diggs, non-laughers. The Michigan Panther Pride. Thinking about sending my Jake Bates cards to Allen Park training facility to see if I can have Jake sign him and mail them back. All right, we'll see. Michigan Panther Pride, maybe a giveaway in the future. Could be. Vernon, good morning, Coach and crew. Coach, how would you feel we trade for the Vikings for J.J. McCarthy as a backup? And can you imagine having Garrett on D-line? I can imagine Garrett. I doubt if we trade for J.J. McCarthy. It's just, why would they give him up? He's probably going to be their starting quarterback. Let's see. Moneybags. Let's see. Diggs, no. Metcalf, yes. And for sure, and Garrett, I'm happy. All right, we'll make it happen. Not a Metcalf, yes, but worried he is not a locker room fit. King SJI, Moneybags, Diggs, no. Metcalf, yes. Motown Mitch, no one digging. Hex, no on DK. DK is a head case and a personal foul penalty waiting to happen. Dude can't control himself. All right, we'll go with that. King SJ, I'm willing to trade a couple more in-season losses next year for a shot at the Super Bowl. Yeah, do whatever you can to get there, 100%. Ken, good morning, everybody. Woo, back at you. Jess, why do we need Diggs or Metcalf? Patrick is better than either of them in regards to fit, grit, culture, plus he's cheaper to sign. You might be right with that, Jess. You might be right indeed. Silver, I'd rather get that 240-pound monster who chases down running backs from behind, lives near Kenneth Grant, than ruining the salary cap with Myles Garrett. Lions need to re-sign Jamo, Kirby, Brian, Gibbs, Aiden. All the above, 100%. Rob, sorry to clear my throat. Rob, OSU, great place for Patricia. Go blue. I'll go with that. Motown, no on Diggs. Hex, no on DK. Too much of a head case and personal foul waiting to happen. Signaled handily cost his team games all year. Yeah, Signal handily did that. Okay. Again, Diggs, no. Marcus, I can't believe OSU hired Fat Bluto Patricia. Me either, man. Me either. Let's go, Matt Patricia is not a good head coach at all. Doesn't connect with his players. I 100% agree with that. But maybe he's changed. Maybe he's grown up. Maybe. Jess, the continued decline of OSU. Hope for an easy for MSU now. Could be. Derek, Lions will be the best team next. The team to beat next year. KC's start is flaming out 100%. I see there. Travis Kelce is considering retirement. They'll also be a shell of themselves. I'll go with that. Ken is not a fan of Ohio State. Jess, Lions thrive on being undervalued and underestimated. Just look past. Yeah, I agree with that. Trim Reaper, what up, Coach Anuku? Woo! Back at you. Silver, Derek, don't know about Detroit, but we share the same view on KC. Okay. Just Lions and see how that works out for you. Okay. Rob, the Lions went 0-16 too. Cleveland just wouldn't be outdone. Hey, nobody beats us than us. Now can somebody go 0-17? Derek, it would be good to see Matt Patricia back every year for his annual butt whooping. Go blue. Johnny L, great morning to you all. Same to you, my friend. Jess, how does he know what Garrett wants? According to some media speculation, it is extending him. That is the issue. Can't afford the exuberant cost and effect on the payroll structure down the road. Yeah, could be all the above. Again, Pat O'Connor going to have to give up that 95 jersey when Garrett gets his. Could be. Yep. Patrick, I'd love to see Myles Garrett here in Detroit. Yeah, you and me both. Ezra, great. Good morning to you, my friend. Good morning, Coach Dan and Duke. Let's put that out Myles deal in action. Bye, Hooker. Yeah, see you later, Hooker. Let's see. Silver. Holmes looked really tired about everything. I think he got tired of holding the fort, tired of defending the top of the mountain. Who knows? Maybe he surprises me and comes back strong, needs players. Yeah, I think, they're not far off, but, man, Philly really beat them down. Just essentially giving up to finding 2 or 3 players that help build depth and development for cheaper options at a time when salary becomes an issue. Yeah, I agree with that. Marcus, I didn't know Jamo was the backup quarterback for the Browns. Yeah, did I mess something up? I don't know. I'll check it out later. Coach, I talked to Sheila Hamp, and she's 1,000% behind Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. She said, whatever it takes to bring a championship to Detroit. I think she's all in to win, 100%. Keith, Marcus, please be careful throwing around the cancer word. It's like nothing. I have advanced stage 4 cancer. Thank you. Okay. Again, toss Broderick Martin into the trade for Garrett. Maybe they do. Derek, a first and Hooker is as much as I would pay for Myles and $15-16 million a year. Okay. Detroit Lions bad guy. Laughing out loud. A lot of people say a lot of things about don't make it true. Just because my family says I'm a nice guy doesn't mean I'm not yeah, okay. So the former QB says Garrett wants to be a Lion. Doesn't mean Jack. No, doesn't mean anything. Just means that's what he said. Moonscar, hey, Vern, stay in my ear. Okay, Big D. I love Jack. He's going to have a great year this year. Me too. I think he will. Just not willing to give up players, our depth and future players for continued depth. Holmes does have a good track record of finding cheap talent. He does. Just trust in Ho. Okay. Orlando, Lions fans are already claiming the North next year. Hey, what fan base isn't? If your fan base is saying you're going to lose, that probably says something about your team. Let's see, Robert. I believe the Lions should bring in Myles Garrett. I believe the Lions should bring in like a Micah Parsons. I believe the Lions should bring in Cooper Kupp. Done deal. Make it happen. All right. Johnny L. Dang it, I'm late again. It happens, my friend. No worries. Rob, I'd like to, I feel like Ted Lindsay playing for the Blackhawks might be. Vernon, will do. Ken, dang right, we are Yankee. It's ours until someone wins it. Yeah, you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. So, Alejandro, if your team can beat us, then you know what? Maybe you can supplant us. Until then, we're still the champs. Jess, getting Garrett doesn't guarantee a Super Bowl? No, correct with that. It takes a bit of luck. I fully agree with that, which it does, which we didn't have last year. I concur. Silver, I meant to say man, capital letters. It happens. So let's see. Silver, I love Rob Marinelli. He was a man in a terrible organization. Don't care about the 0-16. Yeah, it could be that he was in the wrong place, wrong time. Jess, I would love Hendrickson in terms of cost, and he does make us better. I would agree with that. Let's see. Dwayne, 2 first and Hooker. Let's do it now. Hey, 2 first and Hooker might get it done. Jess, no to Myles, but it's a base on cost up front and down the road. I concur. Let's see, Derek, I think Hendrickson or Sweat or someone of that caliber would be just fine. Just trust in Holmes. We will. Detroit Lions bad guy, 2004 NBA Finals. Who won LA Superstar Lakers or Detroit Lions? Hard work, nobody Pistons. Okay. Marcus, as long as the Lions and Garrett or Hendrickson, I'm on board. Johnny L, MG all the way. Tug Speedman, absolutely get Garrett. 2 first-round picks are almost second-rounders when you're picking 32 overall. You're not wrong with that. Earl, Myles Garrett, hands down. Now, Lavers, Garrett, and why first and fourth Hooker? Okay. Kim, Myles Garrett may want to come to the Lions, but he still wants the payload. Cleveland will want the farm. If he can be handed for a reasonable deal, yes. If the cost too high, take of our players. Yes, yeah, take care of our players first. Just Holmes shopped at dollar store for free agents and find some gems in the draft. Maybe he does. Shamir, Myles said he is willing to rework his contract. He said he's willing to do whatever he can to get that man. Yeah, and let's see what he's willing to help out with. Derek, I'm against trading away first rounders because of the 5th-year option. All right, Jess, Campbell's may excel with new defensive corner. Wait and see. Too early to tell with new DC. Ariano, Hooker, Arnold, Martin, or for Max Crosby. All right. Just, Coach, you may have to update the intro. Some of those players may be former Lions. Yeah. Well, wait and see what happens in time. Tug Speedman, if you don't get Hutch any help, we have no future. We'll be Chargers of the NFC. Keith, Garrett, question mark. I would give up 2 first-round picks for him. Exclamation mark. Garrett, Hutch, McNeil, DJ, question marks. Best D line in the NFL. Draft Green or another defensive tackle, Super Bowl bound. I like it. Area Anthony, let's bring Derek Harmon and Deion Walker, Kyle Kennard back home this draft. Maybe they do. Ken, players want to come to Detroit now because we give them a legitimate shot to win a Super Bowl. Exclamation point. Who would have ever thought this would be saying that? Question mark, go Lions. 100% there. Mark, I would love to have Garrett, but I believe it would cost only 1 first rounder of later and one later. Excuse me. Otherwise, too expensive. I like Hendrickson. Jess, the Browns have reportedly said that they're not willing to trade Garrett, plus them future into cap purgatory. Yeah, they would have to rework some things to get out of that purgatory for sure. They do need to free up some cap space right now. Jess, not sure Hendrickson is even on the block. We wouldn't be the only team vying for his services if he was available. Yeah, wait and see what happens. Until a deal goes down, it's all speculation. Detroit Lions bad guy, your friends can say whatever they want that you said until we hear it from you doesn't mean anything. Well, we have heard from Myles Garrett. He wants out. He put out a public statement saying he wants out of Cleveland. So there we go. It doesn't mean anything. You're not in control, MG. CNC, trade for Garrett. They get Rakestraw, Hooker, Martin, Manu, a boxer unfinished projects. Okay. Jess, Holmes holds all those picks like Coach holds onto his Mountain Dew. Truer words were never spoken. I think it's Jameis Winston, not Jameson Williams you are referring to. Oh, maybe I messed up and misspoke. Sorry about that, guys. I'm not sure if Jameson Williams has ever been a quarterback for the Browns. Yeah, I probably misspoke and said Jameson Williams and not James Winston. My bad, guys. It seems like We still are in rebuild. Skip them picks. We are set up to, we just need to get a pass rush, and let's go to the Super Bowl this season. I like it. I like it indeed. T-Lokes, Hooker in the first this year, second round next year for Garrett. I concur. Moonscar, Cleveland Browns are the worst franchise when it comes to the quarterback. Think about everything they have tried for decades and should always make the wrong choices. Should have kept Baker Mayfield. Yeah, they really should have. They're regretting that one. Michael Snow, something no one wants. Laughing out loud. Good morning, Duke Crew. And he probably got a little bit of it. Kim, the more other teams spend, the more left for the Lions to go get who they really after. Might be true. Yeah, you exhaust some of the other options out there. You could be the last one standing. Just don't know if age factors into Hooker's role, but he is older and unproven, but he is cheap. He is indeed. Moonscar, T-Bone looks, I would be okay with that trade. That's what I think it should take, okay? Dynamite, people saying skip them picks till it's time to sign our own people, then start crying. Oh, I concur. The Lions bad guy. The Lions might have the hardest schedule in the NFL history, depending on when they play, what teams, and we are finally have everyone healthy. Let's go. Woo! I concur. Anthony, we need to get Max Crosby. He for sure wants to be here. I go with that. Dynamite, getting Garrett doesn't 100% mean Super Bowl win. You are not wrong there. Silver, Browns are not going to place a bet on an unproven 20-year-old, quote, rookie while letting go one of the best players in the league. All right. Anthony, Hooker, Arnold Martin for Max Crosby. Bad guy. I mean, when it was last time a team had to face the last two Super Bowl champs, but two more dominate other teams, Ravens, Lions. Yeah, you just got to win them. Twin Peaks, I'll take Myles over Crosby any day, every day. Okay. Ben, yes, let's do our best to grab Garrett. No to 2 first-rounders. Trust our leadership. It's been a long time coming. Lions, great podcast. Hit the podcast. Hit that like buttons. Yeah, if you guys can, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit all the buttons. Twin Peaks, I would give 2 first. We aren't in a rebuild anymore, and we are in a win the Super Bowl mode. Yes, we are. We need to go win it. Don Con. Yes, so Brad will not be making a huge free agent acquisition. Maybe they won't. Ben, everything going to work together. Garrett going to be a Lion. No to Diggs. Yeah, a lot of people don't seem to want to get Diggs, and I get it, man. Philly, good morning. Back at you. Nice guitars. Silent service. I don't see Garrett coming here. I believe it will cost prohibited. There are other options at free agency. We still have Zedarius. Let's see what he can do with Hutchinson. 100% there. DM5TV, I'll have to rewatch from the beginning. So Jameis Winston says he wants to be a Lion. Yeah, it says Myles Garrett wants to be a Lion. Oh, yeah, I'll go with that. Garrett has foot issues, too. He has had some injuries in recent years. He's almost 30. Moonscar, until tomorrow's dawn, y'all, have a great snowy day. Stay warm and safe. Back at you. Miles Margaret, please share, copy. Doesn't have to be send, but it still counts good for the channel. Yeah, if you guys can, before you check out, hit all the buttons. All right, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, get to snow and shovel and get ready for the workday, all that stuff. If there is breaking news later today, I'll get it over to you as quick as possible. Otherwise, if you could, before you check on out, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit all the buttons. Take care. Have a great day. Do something kind for somebody you don't know. We'll see you all on the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.
Excuse me, sir, would you... Donations to Reverend Moon? Jews for Jesus?
Read about Jehovah's Witness? How about Buddhism?
Jerry's kids? Oh, yeah. Scientology?
Or nuclear power?